Mark's old friend from when he was a boy, Chloe, sent a shiny band for our wedding. I took it and smiled. But right after, I gave the band to Mrs. Davis, a cleaning woman at my work who was very sick and didn't have long to live. This was because if you wore the band for 2 weeks, your spirit would swap with the spirit of the person who gave it to you. Did Mark's old friend want to be me? She could only dream. Hey, Nina, this is something from Chloe to say she's sorry. We hope you won't stay mad at her for being rude. Mark's old friend's parents kindly offered a beautiful band and a calm, cute ragdoll cat. Seeing this, it felt like something I had lived before. I blinked my eyes, not quite believing it. Was I born again? But Maria, the woman who would be my mother-in-law, just laughed. All right, Nina, take it. This band is worth what you make in many years, and this ragdoll cat is Chloe's best loved pet. If she's giving it to you, you must take very good care of it. I was so surprised. Maria took the band and tried to put it on my arm. I was terrified and knocked her hand away. She got extremely angry. Nina, what do you think you're doing? Chloe already gave you this gift to say sorry. Are you going to keep being difficult and not move on? Hearing that, everyone around started to look at me in a mean way. I made myself calm down and put on a smile. Mom, Chloe is just acting like a kid. I wouldn't really be mad at her. It's just that this band is too fancy and there are so many people here today. I'm worried I might lose it, so I'll wear it after the wedding. Maria, just as I thought, laughed at me, calling me a country girl who didn't belong. Chloe's parents and the ragdoll cat all looked at me like they were making fun of me. Only Mark comforted me. Nina, if you don't like this band, don't wear it. My heart felt warm, but I frowned. In my last life, I thought about Maria's feelings and Chloe's family's feelings. I wore the band without thinking twice and took the ragdoll cat. And because of that, bad things happened. The ragdoll cat always seemed so good in front of others. But when we were alone, it would act wild, scratch my hands and feet, and also tear up all the presents Mark gave me. Whenever Mark wanted to be alone with me, the ragdoll cat would lie on the floor and cry very loudly. Maria would quickly make a big problem out of it and tell us to take it to the animal doctor. But when we got to the doctor, the ragdoll cat would act like nothing was wrong, jumping into Mark's arms for hugs and attention. Maria used this chance to cause trouble. This cat is probably like its old owner, in love with Mark. It gets upset whenever it sees its owners being too loving. If you ask me, you two should sleep in different rooms for a while to give the little cat some time to get used to things. I came from a family with no money, and Mariah already didn't like me. If Mark hadn't been so set on marrying me and not Chloe, who he grew up with, I would never have been able to marry into the Brown family. To change Maria's mind about me and make her like me, I did everything she said in my past life. She told us, the new husband and wife, to live apart for a month, and I kept trying to tell Mark it was okay. She told me to wear the band every day and never take it off, and I did just that. But 2 weeks later, I woke up from a dream and was scared to find myself locked in a cage. Maria, Chloe's parents, and the person who had taken my body were all looking at me very pleased. This spirit-swapping magic really worked. It worked! The Brown family's daughter-in-law can only be Chloe. If Mark hadn't said he would hurt himself, how could I have let this fish seller's daughter marry into our family, making us a joke for so long? Hearing Maria's words, the person in my body laughed loudly. Oh, Mrs. Brown, you love Chloe the most. Chloe will be a good daughter to you in the future. Give the Brown family many children, and take good care of Mark. That's when I understood that Chloe had never stopped trying to win Mark's love. To do this, she spent a lot of money on a spirit-swapping magic, putting her spirit into the ragdoll cat and putting the magic on the band. Maria helped her by watching me every day. This was how the magic worked so well. Chloe, feeling very proud, then looked at me with hate. You witch, you think you can use some cheap tricks you learned somewhere to hold on to Mark and marry into a rich family, changing your poor life? Dream on! Let me tell you, Mark can only be my Chloe's. So any witch who tries to charm Mark should die, and you dirty, low-life cat, even more so. She told the workers to throw me into a machine that shreds things and grind me into tiny pieces. I screamed, terrified, trying to make Mark notice. but Mark was taken away by Maria and the others with some excuse. I was in pain and had no hope, and I died a terrible death. After I died, Chloe, wearing my face, lived a very nice life with Mark. Not only did she quickly get pregnant and have his child, but she also got half of the Brown family's money just by having a child. A loving couple, a good mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, good children. Chloe became what everyone in their group wanted to be. But who remembered the little cat that was hurt until it died, and poor me? But luckily, I was born again. This time, I will make sure Chloe gets her own spirit swap. I work as a jewelry maker in a small shop. Besides making new designs, making a very good copy of a band is, of course, easy for me. So after the wedding, I said I had urgent work at my company to take the band Chloe gave me and made a fake one. By the time I finished everything, it was already morning. I didn't hurry home, but went to a narrow street near my office. I saw the cleaning woman I had met once before, bent over, looking for food in a garbage can. I had heard from a coworker who liked to talk about others before. This older woman was over 60 and had a husband at home who drank too much and hurt her. Life was already difficult, and 2 months ago she found out she had bad lung cancer. Her husband threw her out, and her 2 children, who didn't care about her, also didn't help. But the older woman was truly kind. Before, when I was too busy with work and forgot when my period was due, she ran around to buy me pads when it came unexpectedly. When she worked as a cleaner in our building before, she always kept the office very clean. She would also help us water the plants. Seeing me, the older woman was surprised. I just wanted to find some food. I won't make the building look bad. Please don't make me leave. I smiled, took out the band that had the magic on it from my pocket, and gave it to her. I asked carefully, "Ma'am, if you had a chance, would you want to keep living in pain and waiting to die, or live a different life?" The older woman was surprised for a moment, her eyes turning red. "Lung cancer is too painful. I want to live." So I seriously put the band on the older woman's wrist, and I told her to wear it all day and all night and never take it off, no matter where she went. To stop her husband who gambled and her unthankful children from causing trouble and trying to take the expensive band, I'd also rented her a room for 2 weeks. After finding the right person for the spirit swap, I went home feeling very tired. Maria saw the red band showing from under my sleeve, and her face was full of happiness. "This band is a special one that Chloe got for you from another country. It's worth a fortune. You must take very good care of it. Even though you're already married to Mark and the Brown family doesn't care about how much you earn, it's good for a woman to have a job. If you have work, just go and be busy. I'll take care of Mark." Before the spirit swap, Maria had promised Chloe that she would do everything she could to stop Mark from getting close to me. So Maria acted completely different than usual. Not only not telling me to quit my job and stay home, but also telling me to focus on my job. But would I let her and Chloe, who is now a cat, be so comfortable? I smiled. "Mom, thank you for being so kind. But Mark and I have talked about it. We just got married and we're not in a hurry to focus on our jobs, so I took a month off." Maria got very angry when she heard that. The ragdoll cat in her arms also suddenly stood up and looked at me fiercely. "Nina, do you think you can do whatever you want now that you're married into the Brown family? You didn't even tell me you were taking time off. You don't respect me at all." Maria's face was serious, and she insisted I call my boss right away and cancel my time off. But I immediately called Mark. "Hey, Mark, come down quickly. Your mom is bothering me again. I was busy with work all night and didn't get any rest." Not only is she not being nice, but she's also not letting me rest and is forcing me to cancel my time off and go back to work. Hearing that, Mark immediately came down from upstairs. He said to Maria with a cold face, "Mom, we agreed that when Nina married me, you wouldn't get involved in her things." Maria said quickly, "I'm not getting involved at all. It's clearly her, Nina, who's not listening and thinks she can live off the Brown family now that she's married." Mark replied sharply, "Nina is my wife, and it's perfectly normal for her to spend my money. If you can't accept that, we'll move out today." Maria wouldn't let that happen, so she could only pretend to give in and said she would try her best to agree. The ragdoll cat was so worried that it kept scratching Mark's pants. Seeing this, Maria said, "This ragdoll cat is very needy. Mark, hold it more." Seeing that Mark didn't seem to mind and was about to bend down, I immediately covered my head and said I felt dizzy. Mark immediately kicked the ragdoll cat away and picked me up like a princess. The ragdoll cat that was left behind suddenly showed its teeth and tried to bite. I shivered with fear. "Mark, this cat seems to really hate me. Look at its eyes, like it wants to eat me." Mark looked at it with disgust. Indeed, the owner shows in the cat. Chloe is a troublemaker, and the cat she raised isn't good either. Mark ignored Maria's protests and directly ordered the workers at home. The ragdoll cat was not allowed near our bedroom. But what kind of person was Chloe? The more you told her not to do something, the more she would do it. Late at night, the ragdoll cat secretly came into our bedroom. When I heard it move, I immediately snuggled into Mark's arms and acted cute, wanting to be close. Mark laughed, rolled over, and was about to get on top of me. The ragdoll cat jumped onto the bed in anger and kept showing its teeth and hissing at me. It was exactly like Chloe, who was always having fits and causing trouble in the past. I purposely let out a soft sound, challenging it. "Mark, this cat is really like its old owner, so annoying. Why don't you put a muzzle on it? Otherwise, Mom will hear the noise later and come in to ruin the mood." Mark was breathing hard, his top half bare, calling to the ragdoll cat. The ragdoll cat was almost drooling over Mark's body. Its eyes narrowed, and it slowly came closer to him. Just as it was about to put its paws on his stomach, Mark quickly grabbed the fur on the back of the cat's neck. He securely put the muzzle, which I gave him, on it and locked it in the empty closet nearby. The ragdoll cat was so angry it kept scratching the closet with its claws, making a loud scraping sound. But Mark and I ignored it and continued with our plans to have a baby. After failing to get the better of me many times, the ragdoll cat's eyes became even darker. The next day, Maria used an excuse to invite a lot of her friends and family over. Even Chloe's parents came. To avoid talking to them, I hid in the kitchen, helping the workers with the sweets. But those two annoying people still followed me. Mrs. Stark, holding the ragdoll cat, asked me to go upstairs to talk. But just as we were halfway up the stairs, the ragdoll cat suddenly jumped down. With a loud meow, it rolled down the stairs. Mrs. Stark immediately became very angry. "Nina, you're truly mean. Chloe gave you her most loved pet cat, and you actually threw the cat downstairs right in front of me." Looking at the cat lying still on the ground, not moving for a long time, the people watching immediately started whispering. "I can't believe Nina is this kind of person. She must have hurt small animals secretly. Chloe will be heartbroken if she knows her cat was beaten like this." Sigh, I really don't understand Mark's taste. He has Chloe, who's rich, beautiful, and grew up with him, but he goes for this low-class woman who doesn't fit in. Just as everyone was talking excitedly, Mark pushed his way through the people. Mr. Stark ground his teeth and started causing trouble. "Mark, this is the good wife you found. Hurting the cat Chloe gave you in front of so many people. You have no respect for the relationship between our two families?" Maria looked at me with disgust. "Mark, I think it's because you protect Nina too much, making her completely unaware of how to behave. If you ask me, we should just send her back to her family for a while until she learns her lesson." The ragdoll cat, walking with a limp, tried to stand up, shaking, but it ultimately couldn't handle the pain and fell down again. As it fell, it meowed sadly at Mark. Everyone there was waiting for Mark to teach me a good lesson. Mark ignored them and walked straight towards me. He asked in a quiet voice, "Nina, is what they're saying true?" I immediately pouted sadly, tears filling my eyes. I choked out, "I didn't do any of that. Mrs. Stark was holding the cat, and I don't know what she did, but the cat suddenly went crazy and jumped down the stairs." Mrs. Stark was furious. "Nina, you're talking nonsense. You clearly couldn't stand seeing how good Chloe's relationship is with your mother-in-law, and you purposely hurt the cat in front of me. Now you're trying to blame me." Maria also looked at me with dislike. "You're such a jealous girl. You saw the childhood friendship between Chloe and Mark, and you purposely spread rumors about Chloe in front of her to mess up her relationship with Mark. Now that she's brought the cat to say sorry, you're purposely trying to kill the cat to stop it from getting close to Mark. Mr. Stark, covering his face, banged on the table. Nina, if you don't want to keep the cat, just give it back to us. How can you treat a cute life like this? Mark, we watched you grow up too. Now that your wife is doing something so shameful, don't you need to control her and make her apologize to us? The family members watching immediately spoke up. Exactly. Nina doesn't just represent herself. If she does something like this outside again, where will the Brown family's good name be? Mark didn't say a word. I coughed and reminded them. Since we all have different stories now, let's just call the police. Maria frowned, unhappy. Call the police about what? If this gets out, it'll only embarrass the Brown family and your husband. I say we just make you apologize to Mr. and Mrs. Stark and then pack your bags and go back to your family's house. You're not allowed to come back without my permission. Maria signaled the workers with her eyes, wanting them to force me to apologize to Chloe's parents. But Mark protected me. If everyone's memory is a bit unclear, I can remind you that I'm the one in charge of the Brown family now, and since the matter hasn't been looked into fully, it's not right for you to rush to say my wife is guilty, is it? Maria said impatiently. There are witnesses now who can prove that Nina dropped the cat. Isn't that enough? I peeked out from behind Mark. Of course not. Mrs. Stark can say anything she wants and make things up. Mrs. Stark's face turned red with anger. Mark, I think you're really being fooled by beauty and getting more and more confused. Why would I, an older person, try to blame Nina? Mr. Stark even brought up his family's business deal with the Brown family. If Mark couldn't handle me, then their past business deals would be over. Mariah was heartbroken and urged me not to be stubborn and ruin the Brown family's business. But I was amused. Mom, Mrs. Stark, Mr. Stark, maybe you don't know, but there's a camera on the stairs. Maria was stunned. Camera? When did that happen? I didn't know. Mark took my hand and replied, I had someone put it in yesterday when you went shopping. I was afraid someone would try to cause trouble for Nina while I was away. Nina is shy and well-behaved, and if there wasn't a camera as proof, she would definitely be blamed. It just came in handy. Mark told someone to get the camera video and show it. Whether I dropped the cat or Mrs. Stark purposely blamed me, everything would be clear. Mrs. Stark suddenly felt guilty. Oh, well, I was just startled by the cat's terrible state at the time, and I didn't really see clearly. I thought for a moment and reminded her, Mrs. Stark, if I remember correctly, you were absolutely sure at the time that I snatched the cat from you and purposely dropped it in front of you. Mrs. Stark's face turned bright red and she couldn't say a word for a long time. Maria helped her and glared at me with anger. Since it was a misunderstanding, let's just clear it up. Your Mrs. Stark is old. It's normal for her to misremember or say the wrong thing sometimes. You're being too mean by focusing on it. I looked confused and pulled at Mark's sleeve. Mark, is this how rich families handle things? You don't need to apologize after wrongly accusing someone. I was really out of my mind in my past life to work so hard to please Maria. Since Mark is in charge of the Brown family now, why shouldn't I depend on the real person in power? Hearing that, Mark immediately had someone play the camera video. In the video, the ragdoll cat jumping down the stairs in a panic was clearly shown. It had nothing to do with me. Mr. Stark, Mrs. Stark, now that things are clear, it's your turn to apologize to my wife. Maria tried to make things calm. Oh, come on. I told you it was a misunderstanding. It wasn't on purpose. Why make Chloe's parents apologize in front of so many people? How embarrassing. Mark's face was cold and he looked directly at Maria. Mom, when you were forcing Nina to apologize, did you forget that she would also be embarrassed? It seems like you don't know how much it hurts until you're hit. Seeing that Maria was about to argue again, Mark directly brought up her allowance money. If you stop this again or say another word, I'll cut off one of your credit cards. Seeing that Mark was really angry, Maria immediately shut up. Chloe's parents looked at each other and could only swallow their anger and bow to me in apology. Mark then said, I think Mr. Stark's idea just now made a lot of sense. Since the relationship between our two families is getting more and more distant, some of the business deals don't need to continue. Mr. Stark was furious. You, Mark Brown, you're insulting me like this for a woman. I'll wait to see the day you come begging me. Chloe's parents angrily started to leave. Mark then kicked the ragdoll cat, which was pretending to limp on the stairs. Don't forget to take this crazy cat with you. It's just as crazy as Chloe. I can't stand looking at it. Remembering what I promised the cleaning woman, I hooked my finger around Mark's. The cat is hurt. Why don't we let it heal first? No need to rush sending it away. Maria also eagerly nodded. Exactly, the cat is so cute. It's sad that it's injured. Seeing that I had spoken, Mark didn't object. So the ragdoll cat was kept in a separate room just for getting better from its injuries. On the day the 2-week limit was up, the ragdoll cat suddenly became very upset. It let out loud cries and kept hitting the door with its body. I also suddenly felt dizzy and fell to the ground. When I woke up again, Maria kept secretly looking at me. I completely changed my eating habits and was no longer polite to the workers. Maria finally came closer. Are you Chloe? I copied Chloe's actions and smirked wickedly. Oh, Mrs. Brown, it's me, Chloe. Thank you and Dad for everything you've done for me. From now on, I will completely replace Nina and help Mark make the Brown family bigger and stronger. Maria pulled me closer, looking at me, and smiled with happiness. It has to be our Chloe. That Nina isn't even good enough to carry your shoes. Since the spirit swapping magic was successful, I immediately called Chloe's parents over. Their first thought was to attack the ragdoll cat to let out their anger from being shamed in public before, but I stopped them. Dad, you need to focus on important things right now. Mark cut off his business with you. Our business must be affected, right? Mr. Stark sighed with worry. Exactly. That young boy Mark is much meaner than his dad. Not only did he cut off business with us, but he also sent out a notice in the business world forbidding anyone else from working with us. If you came back any later, our family would be broke. Mrs. Stark pulled my arm and pleaded, Chloe, we've loved you since you were little. Now that our family is in trouble, you can't leave us. Quickly say something nice to Mark and tell him to stop. I touched my face. I just swapped over. If my personality changes too much all of a sudden, Mark will definitely think something is wrong. Okay, Dad, listen to me. Following our plan we made before, I talked to Mr. Stark. I told him to move all his money and property to my name. Then I would talk nicely to Mark to use that money to help me invest in the Brown family's company. Dad, you know Mark's skill for investing. With him helping us manage things, you and Mom can enjoy life, travel, and just wait for the money at the end of the year. Mr. Stark's eyes lit up. That's a great idea. When I wanted you to marry Mark, I wanted him to help me manage the company so Mom and I could retire early. Mrs. Stark suddenly hit her head. Chloe, there's something else I almost forgot. Now that you've successfully swapped spirits, what should we do with your body in the hospital? To be safe, Chloe had kept her body, which was in a coma, in the hospital for treatment. If the spirit swap failed, she could still find a way to return to her own body. But now that I knew about it, of course, I wouldn't give her another chance to fix things. So I told Mrs. Stark, Mom, let's just get rid of that body. Tell everyone I died in a drunk driving accident so Mark won't have a chance to look into it. Chloe's parents were about to act according to my plan, but when they went out, the cleaning woman suddenly appeared. Her face was pale, and she hugged Mrs. Stark's leg with a look of happiness. Mom, it's me, Chloe. Chloe's parents were both shocked. I immediately kicked her aside and explained, Mom, Dad, this woman bumped into me before and heard me talking to a magic expert about spirit swapping. She's tried to get money from me many times, and now she's trying to pretend to be me to change her life. Mr. Stark got angry and kicked her in the chest. Damn it! Look at yourself, old woman. You dare pretend to be my daughter at your age. Do you believe I won't have someone skin you alive? You shameless woman! His strong kick sent her flying. She also coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood. The cleaning woman started coughing hard and couldn't speak for a long time. This woman has cancer and won't live much longer. Mom, Dad, you should stay away from her bad luck in case she infects you. Seeing this, I signaled for Chloe's parents to leave first. Seeing the car drive away in front of her, the cleaning woman's face was filled with anger and sadness. Nina, you witch. You'll get what you deserve. You ruined my spirit-swapping plan and put me in this dying old woman's body. But don't be too happy. As long as I prove who I am to Mom and Dad, they'll definitely believe me and get back at you. As for Mark, he'll only be mine." Chloe, who had swapped into the cleaning woman's body, was filled with frustration. But what could she do with all her frustration? With a face of someone nearly 80 years old, if anyone heard her say she was Chloe, they would just think she was crazy. What's more, her current self also came with a husband who hurt her, and a pair of greedy children. But Chloe didn't give up. At her own funeral, she appeared again and went up to Chloe's parents. But just as she was about to speak to prove who she was, the man with a strong smell of alcohol and a swollen face jumped out. "You damn old woman, didn't I tell you not to wander around and trick people all day? It's not enough that you ruined my good name, now you want to get us into debt too." The man raised his hand and slapped Chloe several times in the face. Chloe's current body had cancer cells that had spread to many parts. She had used all her strength to drag her painful body to find Chloe's parents. Now, after being beaten by the man, she had trouble even speaking. Just then, her children also ran out from outside. They apologized to Chloe's parents with embarrassed looks. "Sir and ma'am, we're sorry. My mom is like this. She sees rich people and just wants to trick them. We locked her at home, but she stole the key and ran out again. I'm really afraid she'll have an attack on the way, and if she dies, it's fine. But she'll also bring others down." Hearing this, Chloe's parents rolled their eyes at Chloe. "You should be happy. Your children are so good to you, and your husband still cares about you. Don't keep causing trouble at your age, or you'll just hurt yourself and others." Chloe kept shaking her head, trying to speak. The man with the swollen face directly covered her mouth. "Honey, these people are big bosses. They're very busy doing business every day. Don't keep wasting their time." The two children also came over and held Chloe up. "Mom, if you're sick, let's go home and get treated. We, your children, will pay for everything. Don't go out and lie to people. If they look into it, it'll be troublesome." With the three of them struggling, Chloe ultimately couldn't talk to her parents. I pretended to be scared and kept crying. Chloe's parents comforted me for a long time, calling me my dear before I finally calmed down. Later, after I paid them, the cleaning woman's husband and children took Chloe directly to a mud brick house in the village. They bought a large lock and locked her in the house to teach her a lesson. Before they left, they also took the band she was wearing, wanting to sell it for money. Chloe was so angry she screamed loudly inside. "You got it wrong. I'm not your wife or mom. I'm the only daughter of the Stark group. If you take me to meet Mom and Dad, I'll definitely give you a big reward afterwards." The abusive husband sneered. "You little tramp, I know you. These are all lies you made up to get us to let you out so you can escape? Dream on." The ungrateful children took pictures of the band to send to people who might buy it while mocking Chloe. "Mom, you're already old. Why are you still reading fantasy books? The daughter of the Stark group is being buried today. If we let you out to spread nonsense, it might cause a lot of trouble." "Exactly. You have bad cancer and don't have many days left, but you should still do good things and stop causing us trouble. We can't handle those rich people." With that, the three of them left Chloe, who was crying out to the sky and the earth, and went straight back to the city. When I received the video, Chloe's parents were moving all the Stark Group's money to my name. After the contract for willingly giving the money took effect, Mr. Stark was overjoyed. He had a bit too much to drink at the family dinner that day. With a drunken face, he happily patted Mark's shoulder and kept shouting, "Son-in-law, my Chloe is in your hands from now on. You must treat her well." Maria awkwardly tried to cover for him. "Your Mr. Stark just lost his daughter and is a bit out of his mind. Mark, don't mind him." Mr. Stark glared at her. "Lost his daughter? My Chloe didn't die. Look, isn't this my Chloe?" He pointed at me with a trembling hand, but I laughed loudly. "Mr. Stark, what are you talking about? I'm Nina, not Chloe." Mark also nodded repeatedly. "Mr. Stark, Chloe was just buried a short while ago. If you saw her, you must have seen a ghost." Mr. Stark was so angry his cheeks puffed out. "Impossible. My Chloe is so smart, she used spirit swapping." Before he could finish his sentence, his wife covered his mouth. Mrs. Stark said with a hint of apology. Mark, you might not know, but your dad and I have adopted Nina as our goddaughter. So your dad got a little drunk and mixed Nina up with Chloe. And to show we're serious, we also temporarily moved all our money and property to Nina's name. Everyone looked at me, but I played dumb. Mrs. Stark, what do you mean by temporarily? The contract I signed with you states that all the Stark family's money and property are willingly gifted to me. This money will have nothing to do with you from now on. Mrs. Stark looked at me with suspicion for a long time. Chloe, Nina, are you kidding me? I ignored her and looked at Maria with admiration. Mom, your plan was brilliant. You had me pretend to be Chloe and trick the Stark family out of all their money. This way, the Brown family's money and property will increase a lot. Maria was stunned. Mrs. Stark was so angry she flipped the table over and cursed, throwing cups. Maria, you witch! I treated you like a sister and helped you get settled in the Brown family all these years, but you're so heartless, planning to steal my Stark family's fortune. Mrs. Stark grabbed a chair and was about to throw it at Maria. Maria scrambled away, still trying to defend herself. Oh, my dear sister, don't be fooled by Nina. I just found out the spirit-swapping magic failed. Hearing about the spirit-swapping magic, Mark looked at me. Nina, what do they mean by that? Who wanted to swap spirits with whom? I patted his arm gently, telling him not to worry. It was Chloe who wouldn't give up on you. She bought some dark magic and put her spirit into the ragdoll cat, hoping to swap spirits with me this way, but luckily I saw through it. Mark's face tightened. So that cat was Chloe? I knew it was as crazy as that lunatic Chloe. Since the spirit swap failed, where is Chloe now? I smirked playfully. You'll have to ask Mom where the real Chloe is. After all, Mom was the one who personally got rid of the band that had the magic on it. Maria ground her teeth in anger. Nonsense! My dear sister, don't believe a word Nina says. I watched Nina wear this band the whole time. How could I have helped her harm Chloe? But at this point, how could Mrs. Stark still believe her? Hearing this, she grabbed a wineglass and threw it at Maria's forehead. It hit her and made her bleed. Maria, you did a good one. You dared to do this to our Chloe and trick us. If we can't find Chloe, you won't have an easy time either. I purposely tried to make her angrier. You won't find Chloe? I heard from Mom that she already appeared in front of you, but you two were too foolish to recognize her. After my hint, Mrs. Stark suddenly remembered. Her face turned pale. Impossible! That old woman couldn't be my Chloe. Why not? Mom said Chloe was mean and crazy about marrying Mark, a silly dream. To punish Chloe, she specifically found an old, dying beggar. I smiled, feeling victorious. Mrs. Stark was so shocked she couldn't get over it for a long time. Maria lay on the ground, crying out that it wasn't fair. Nina, you poisonous woman, I never did any of that. Why are you saying bad things about me and causing trouble between me and my sister? But I had always been curious. Maria married into the Brown family, which was clearly richer than the Stark family. But she was so obedient to Mrs. Stark. Mrs. Stark wanted Chloe to marry Mark, and Maria helped the Stark family find a way. I always felt like Mrs. Stark had some power over her. So, I purposely set up this situation, just to see if I could find out some shocking secrets. Under Maria's constant shouting, Mrs. Stark came back to her senses. She mumbled to herself, "That's right, is Maria crazy or stupid? Why would she help Nina go against me? Is she not afraid of me telling what happened years ago?" Seeing this, I took out my phone and played a news report. The video reported that a dead person was found in a mud house in a certain mountain village during the day today. The dead person was 65 years old and had been told she had bad cancer. Her family not only refused to pay for her treatment, but also locked her in the house without food. She eventually died alone after starving for 3 days. I clicked on the photo of the dead person and made it bigger for Mrs. Stark to see. Mrs. Stark, does this person look familiar to you? Mrs. Stark rubbed her eyes, not believing it. This is my Chloe. Maria, you wicked woman. You actually swapped my precious daughter into that kind of family and caused her to starve and die in pain. Mrs. Stark cried in sadness, a hint of cruelty showing in her eyes as she looked at Maria. Mariah, you think just because you killed Chloe and ruined my Stark family, no one will know about the evil things you did back then? Mark, do you know how your real mom died? This animal named Maria poisoned her. She wanted her cousin's husband, so she used her knowledge of making medicine, secretly taking a little from school every day and putting it in the juice her cousin drank, watching her slowly being poisoned to death. After she successfully married your dad to prevent you and your dad from disliking her, she went to the hospital and had her womb removed. This way, both you and your dad were tricked by her and truly treated her as family. But who would have thought that the real killer of your wife and mother was actually the person closest to you? Mrs. Stark completely revealed Maria's dirty secrets. Maria panicked for a second, then stubbornly insisted, Mark, don't listen to her nonsense. She's just seen her daughter die and her money given to Nina, so she's purposely blaming me, wanting to make the Brown family suffer forever. But Mrs. Stark grinned. Purposely blaming you? How do you know I didn't secretly film you poisoning her back then? She stumbled and took out her phone, pulling up the video she had saved from years ago. Mark's body trembled with anger when he saw it. Maria, you actually killed my mom and dared to let me call you mom for so many years. You deserve to die. Mark's eyes were red with anger, and he kept looking for something to use on the ground. I was so scared I hugged him tightly, stopping him from doing anything foolish. I also signaled the workers to pour cold water on Mr. Stark. Under the shock of the cold water, Mr. Stark gradually regained his senses. He had been somewhat confused before, but after hearing the truth of the whole matter, he completely broke down. Impossible! The person in Nina's body is clearly our daughter Chloe. Our Chloe couldn't have turned into an old woman and died. Impossible. I held Mark tightly, still causing trouble. Why is it impossible? Maria was the one who told me about the spirit swapping, and she was the one who swapped the band. And Maria was also the one who told me to take all of your Stark family's money. Mrs. Stark wanted to speak, but it was too late. Mr. Stark, blinded by anger, picked up a knife and stabbed Maria 30 times, every single stab deadly. Maria died right there. Mr. Stark was sentenced to life in prison for purposely killing someone. Mrs. Stark, unable to accept the news of her daughter's death and being chased by people she owed money to, eventually killed herself by carbon monoxide poisoning. The cleaning woman's husband and children who harmed Chloe were also sentenced to 3 years in prison for not taking care of her. As for the real cleaning woman, although she miraculously survived, she would have to live as a ragdoll cat for the rest of her life. Luckily, the Brown family was rich and powerful. When she was human, she didn't have her own room to live in, nor could she enjoy a relaxed life with people taking care of her. But luckily, as a cat, she had it all.